Welcome to the Love Government. I'm Dennis Leary. We're doing a series of videos called Sex Cards. And this is presented by the Love Government, which means the overall context of the thing is about love, but sex is vital to that picture of love. And these cards are therefore very sexy cards, and they are called sex cards. We are now on the 21st card out of 52, and that comes here in this position at the top of the space column in this structure. And it is the third suit, the space suit in the game of cards. And the story is told as we go along through this house. We're taking a journey through this house in a wave-like fashion, getting home to the top here, which is the home. And the whole purpose of the game and the journey is to become true lovers. It is the story of the heroine's journey. And that's what we're taking, that's why we're doing these episodes. We're actually reenacting something from the love culture in a modern format. We're taking the best from the love culture and bringing it and formatting it here so that we can deal with it and feel with it, understand and process it. So much of the things that go on in this context here will be processed later and in other ways and come back to us. We're just planting seeds. So if somebody provides a good soil for the seed to take place, then it will grow. Otherwise it won't. This is a seeding broadcasting system that we're using modern technology. And the old technologies, the best of the old technologies, which are really more powerful and sustainable than the new fancy ones that are being made up today. This card is called Justice, and it's the 7th card in this suit. And a sense of justice is the overall order, the big picture of things. Justice administers the law of love. That's why justice here is, in the Troll card system, she's also called Justice, and also in the consciousness card system, she's called Justice too. This card, by the way, is a combination of two decks, back and the front. And this is the conceptual side, the consciousness side. These are the words, like here, and this is the picture. So you get pictures and words together, working together, interacting. So justice is the overall sense of order that we have, and we develop, and we learn. As we said earlier, there are two ways of looking at it, two orders that are going on. One is called the New World Order, and that is this. This is the patriarch pyramid scheme system. I call it a scheme because it's a crooked scheme to exert power over people at the bottom of the pyramid and extract their wealth, extract their life, extract their resources, and push it to the top. And everybody who's involved in it is at a great, great danger, because anytime this pyramid, it can and it will collapse, and the only thing that's going to be left is love, which is the basis of everything. So that is the explanation of why we have so much terror in our world and fear of this collapse that's bound to come with our own death or with the death of our civilization, if it goes that way. And it could be a slow death turning into one great prison, military concentration camp. That's another type of death. That's the zombie type of death, where you turn into a walking dead person. And then when death comes, she's supposed to find people fully alive. And then death becomes an ecstatic experience. Sexuality in the orgasm climax state is called a little death, because you leave this consciousness and you go into the lovesciousness And in the love culture, they did that ritually for long periods of time. We get little snatches of it in our culture. But that is the result of a just system. And the two sides of justice are true justice and cruel justice. So sometimes justice has to be cruel in order to be true, or kind in order to be true. Also, cruel in order to be kind. In the love government, we attempt to give an overall worldview, an overall philosophy, an overall way of life, paint the big picture so that the little stuff later on will make sense. That's why I spend a lot of time talking about larger matters. These are the things that are not talked about in our culture. These are the things that are covered up and suppressed and denied. And when you've got a system that denies love, then it becomes perverted, twisted, turned. It's a terrible system, to make a long story short. Justice is presented here, sitting again between two pillars. These are the two pillars, her legs, her arms, the two sides of reality, like the two sides of the cards. There's always a left and a right, and that's the way it's called a dualistic system, a dual system. It's called, and in sexual terms, it's called the penis and the vagina. It's like a digital system, the 1 and the 0, on and off. It's a base 2 binary system, and it's general sex. All of reality is sexual because it has this bipolar quality to it. We can reduce it down to genital sex. That's one expression of it. But the larger picture is generative sex, where you generate love through sexuality, but it's more general, and it's a gentle system. It's more gentle. And it's a beautiful system, and it was so beautiful in the love culture. It was open, communal, well-governed, safe, healthy, etc., etc. In our culture today, we have to worry about so many things in the area of sex. Am I going to get a disease? Am I performing well? Now the latest fashion is to present yourself as sexy. Well, that's kind of a compensation method, because it implies that you feel you're not really sexy, just the way you are in normal presentation. So you got to put on a show, hey, look, I'm really sexy. But underneath, we don't feel very sexy. And that type of sexuality, which is a surface, glossy thing, generally is not going to work out too well for too long a time. It burns itself out very quickly if it's not supported by a love context, a love culture. Justice then administers those kinds of ideas. And when we get off the track, she brings us back on the track, love. That's where the cruel part comes in. We bring it all on ourselves. All the suffering, the problems of our individual selves and culture, were all self-generated, because we're not choosing love. We're choosing, therefore, if we're not choosing love, we're choosing anti-love, an anti-love system, and then cruel things happen to our culture or to ourselves. We do all kinds of cruel things to ourselves. We eat things that are not good for our bodies. We get into activities that are dangerous, all kinds of things, and we suffer, therefore, by not waking up, being dumb, being stupid, being lazy. It's called traditionally it's called the 7 deadly sins. The 7 deadly sins. Pride, first of all. And this system that the patriarchy has created is a system of pride. But they cover it up and they blame it on the devil, and they say the devil rebelled against God. The devil, Lucifer, the angel, rebelled against God, and therefore God punished him. And then they say Eve picked the apple off the tree and gave it to Adam, and then God punished them. for doing what is naturally. So it's a punishment system, and it's not just, and it brings with it its own cruelty. People that are caught in this pyramid system up here are suffering, are going to suffer, are suffering, even though they strive mightily to cover it up and deny it and pretend to be what they're not. And that's a foolish thing to do, but it's commonplace. Justice then applies the truth. Justice is about the truth, telling the truth. And if we tell lies to ourselves, we're going to get a cruel backlash. It's going to come to us, backlash. One way or another, it will come. Deny it as much as we can. It's just the way love works. Love works. It works. Love works. It's the only thing that really works in a sustainable, deep, safe fashion. So to the extent that I'm in love, and I'm not making any claims for myself, I'm a wannabe lover. I'm not a true lover, because I'm a recovering patriarch. I'm 73 years old, 1973. 2013. And most of my life I've been doing the very opposite of what I'm talking about now. I've been meshed in the system, ignorant, supporting things that I didn't, guiding into all kinds of things. It's a long, sad story, but we can recover. We can recover. And justice will help us by hitting us over the head. She is presented here in sexual terms, too. That's another message of the cards. This is all about sex. Even patriarchy, this system, is a sex symbol. It's the phallus presented as an upward pointing pyramid. This is kind of phallic, this pyramid, because this is common in our culture. It's a little bit phallic. See, it's the camera angle that makes it look that way. It's kind of a point at the top. This is the phallus symbol with the point at the top. But here's the interesting thing about this model, is you can flip it over. All these things can be flipped over, and then the phallus becomes a chalice. You flip it over. This is like really more in line with the realities of love, but we're not familiar with it. But and these cards spin this way too, by the way. They spin this way as well as, this way. So the chalice becomes a phallus, and the phallus becomes a chalice. Just two ways of looking at things. In this project, we broaden our perspective, we deepen, and we go higher in all directions at all times. We travel at love speed, in other words. If all this stuff is happening very fast and very quick, if we open to it and welcome it in. But it always operates under the law of freedom. So justice administers love, but also the love of freedom. We have the freedom to go to do cruel things to ourselves. And the freedom, but it'll always come back on us. So anyway, once again, I want to thank you all very much for joining us on this journey. Every person's contribution is important. Everything counts. In a love system, everything counts. It was said in the ancient wisdom literature, no sparrow falls, and all your hairs are counted. That's the idea. Every little bit counts. So thank you. At the end, we thank all the lovers that have joined us, and we gather it all into one kind of a form mass type of situation, and then we give it to ourselves, and then we share it in some kind of a gesture, like the pulsating gesture like this. It's a love gesture, and it actually evokes what it signifies.